What if the entire book of Revelation is not about future world events, but about your own body, your mind, and your spiritual journey? What if the so-called end times are really the blueprint for your inner transformation? Let's take a journey together and uncover hidden truths that can change the way you see yourself, your faith, and even the world around you. We've all heard about the book of Revelation. It's often portrayed as a terrifying prophecy of the end of the world. But what if we've misunderstood it? What if, instead of a global apocalypse, Revelation is really about something much more personal, something happening inside you? The two witnesses in the book of Revelation, for example, are often interpreted as people or prophets. But I want to challenge that notion. These two witnesses symbolize something much closer to home. The two master glands in your brain, the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. These are not just random organs. They play a key role in your spiritual awakening. Jesus himself hinted at the importance of these aspects of our being when he spoke of the single eye and the light within. Today we'll explore how revelation, numerology, and Jesus' teachings all point toward one undeniable truth. The Bible is not just a collection of stories, but a guide to inner transformation. Let's start with an incredible idea. The book of Revelation is not about an external apocalypse, but about the struggles within your own body and mind, the battles, the rivers, the nations mentioned in the text. These represent the internal conflicts happening in your endocrine system and consciousness. Jesus taught us that the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:21. He wasn't talking about a distant heaven. He was pointing to the very core of your being. In fact, Jesus constantly referenced the body as a temple. Your body is the true temple of God. And the struggles described in Revelation are the spiritual battles taking place inside of you as you seek to awaken that divine consciousness, the Christ within. Now think about this. The pineal gland, often referred to as the third eye in many traditions, is what Jesus was talking about when he said, "If your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light." Matthew 6:22. This is the spiritual eye, the gateway to your higher self. When the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, the two witnesses, are activated, you experience divine revelation within yourself. But here's where things get even more fascinating. The Bible wasn't written randomly. It's full of numerology, and numbers carry deep symbolic meaning. Jesus knew this, and he expected his followers to understand it too. For example, the number 7 is a number that stands for divine intervention. Remember when Joshua marched around Jericho 7 times and the walls fell down? That wasn't just a historical event. It's symbolic of how divine intervention happens when we align ourselves with God. Similarly, the 7 chakras or nerve centers in your body represent the path of spiritual awakening, from the base of your spine to the top of your head, where divine enlightenment occurs. In Revelation, we often hear about the 7 years of tribulation, but it's not about 7 literal years of suffering. The number 7 simply means divine intervention in the midst of your trials. It's a promise that when tribulation comes, God will step in and help you through. Now let's talk about something a bit more controversial, the number 666. Often called the mark of the beast, this number has been sensationalized as a sign of evil or doom. But let's break it down using the symbolism of numbers. The number 666 is not about a literal beast or some external entity. When you add up 6 plus 6 plus 6, you get 18, and 1 plus 8 equals 9. In numerology, 9 represents human consciousness, specifically lower consciousness, the ego, the part of you that is driven by fear, greed, and selfishness. The beast is simply the lower carnal mind that drives destructive behavior. It's the part of you that pulls you away from God's truth. When Jesus referred to the beast in Revelation, he wasn't talking about an external monster. He was referring to the battle between your higher self, the Christ within, and your lower self, the ego. The good news? You have the power to overcome the beast by elevating your consciousness. So how do we raise our consciousness and overcome the beast? Jesus gave us the answer. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Matthew 6:33. But remember, the kingdom of God is within you, not out there somewhere. Jesus also said, if your eye is single, Your whole body will be full of light. The single eye refers to the pineal gland, the spiritual center of your brain. When you meditate and quiet your mind, you activate this single eye, bringing light or divine wisdom into your entire being. Another powerful teaching of Jesus is the parable of the fish. When Jesus told his disciples to cast their net to the right side of the boat, it wasn't just about catching fish. Fish symbolize wisdom, and the right side represents the right hemisphere of your brain, which is the creative, spiritual side. When you meditate and silence the logical left side of your brain, you activate the right side, opening yourself up to divine wisdom. Interestingly, the number of fish they caught was 153, which when you add the digits, 1 plus 5 plus 3 equals 9, again pointing to consciousness. Everything in the Bible points to this truth. The journey isn't about external events or waiting for salvation to come from the sky. It's about turning inward and realizing that the Christ consciousness is within you, waiting to be awakened. Jesus came to show us how to achieve this. He took on the 5 wounds, symbolizing the sacrifice of the 5 senses: sight, taste, touch, smell, and hearing. When we get caught up in our lower senses, we lose touch with our spiritual essence. But when we crucify the lower senses through meditation and surrender, we rise into higher consciousness, just as Jesus did. This process happens in Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. This isn't just a historical location. It's a symbol of consciousness. Your own skull is Golgotha, and the battle for your soul takes place within your mind. The resurrection happens when you transcend your lower self and rise into your higher self, the Christ within you. The teachings of Jesus and the symbolism in the Bible all point to one undeniable truth. You are not a powerless being waiting for salvation. You are divine. The Christ within you is your true nature, and it's time to awaken it. So how do we do this? Jesus gave us the answer. The kingdom of God is within you. He taught us to meditate, to silence the mind, and to cast our nets to the right side. When we do this, we open ourselves to the divine wisdom that is always present but often hidden beneath the noise of daily life. We are not here to merely follow religious rules and rituals. We are here to become the Christ, to rise into our true divine nature, just as Jesus did. This is the message of the Bible, the message of numerology, and the message of revelation. It's not about waiting for an external apocalypse. The real battle is within you, and the victory is already yours, if you're willing to claim it. Awaken the Christ within, and you will find peace, wisdom, and a new way of living that transcends fear, ego, and the limitations of the material world.